So no, Mr. Ravi Arora is also a known person to some of you, because if you were attending from Pune, or if you are attending from Mumbai, definitely you would have seen him mostly. And he was also one of the speaker in our earlier bridge conference. If you have attended our bridge conference sometime back last year, you wouldn't have missed him. Mr. Ravi Arora is a vice president of the innovation. Is in the group technology and innovation office at Tata Sons. So who advise almost all the Tata companies on innovation, and he's a key man and leads that function there. And he's of course he's an engineering graduate from IIT and management from XLRI, and he has worked close to 3 decades in the entire Tata group, including the important Tata Steel, one of the manufacturing giant in India. So with taking no time, sir, I wish you deliver your perspectives from the industry, from the innovation side, to the educators, because you have been, sir has also been writing books. He's author of one of the most popular books. So we wish you address our faculty members, sir. So please go ahead, sir.
My co-panelists, Dr. Sancheti and Mr. Mehra, we have heard Dr. Sancheti already. Will be eager to hear Mr. Mehra as well after myself. Good morning to you all. Good morning to all the participants who joined us. It's a great honor and opportunity for me to talk to you guys about what we feel could be done by the academicians, by the academia, by the professors, by the students on the topic of future is now. I just thought that since the topic is this and the time is 20 minutes, so I thought I'll just pick up 1 or 2 threads only instead of talking about the whole big subject of future is now. I just thought we will just use this opportunity to talk about the role that academia can play with or without the corporate. There are a few things which are going in our minds here, in our team's innovation team here. And we thought this is an opportunity and for me to bounce off those ideas with you, see if they are aligned, see if they are aligned to what you guys are thinking. Although I got some sense from the earlier presentation that the academia is thinking on those directions. I guess the speed needs to be increased. So what I will do is I'm going to use a presentation. So let me go to the screen share mode. Yeah, so the topic that I thought I'll pick up is self-reliant. I'm sure you must have heard Prime Minister saying that the biggest lesson that we have learned so far, I'm sure there will be many more lessons in the future, but he did make a point that the biggest lesson that we have learned so far from COVID-19 is that we need to be self-reliant. And this is a presentation that I'm making on my personal behalf, personal introspection on this thought of being self-reliant. And when I thought about various things on which we as a country can become self-reliant, I found that I was challenged the most, and let me repeat, the most in technology-led innovation. This is going to be the biggest challenge if you want to be self-reliant country. And this is a thought that I picked up. And future, we all know that if you look at what the earlier speaker talked about, how things have changed in the last 200 years. The steam engine onwards till from the internet to now AI and stuff like that. It's all technology. If there was no technology in the last 100 years, I think we wouldn't have made so much of progress. Some people call it disruptive. So the technology that touches us today is changing so fast that even today, while I'm 50-year-old now, within 2 years' time, I see that the mobile apps change so fast that I need to take help of my son, who is now in standard 10, to help me with navigating and using some apps in a more productive manner. So the point that I'm making, and this was not true 100 years ago. I don't think people were struggling to learn how to use technology in day-to-day life, because it is moving so fast. And if you introspect further, how much of it is we are doing it ourselves in India? Not so much. In the last 2 slides of Dr. Sancheti presented, they are also, in some sense, I'm not saying directly, in some sense, were talking about adapting or using technologies. all those 12 points that he mentioned, most of them, I'm not saying all of them, but all about using the technologies, not about creating the technology. So we in India are excellent in exploiting or using the new technology that gets developed by the Western world or by some anyone. But if we want to be self-reliant, which is more and more important, the days when data is going to become more important and data security and stuff like that, we need to figure out how and future most of these technologies will need data sets, data and information, which will be very contextual in nature. So the problem that India is facing are different as compared to what the Western world is facing. So if we want to use technology for our problems, we need to figure out a way to encourage our students to work on those technologies, create data sets, create infrastructure, and so on. So if I were to divide this challenge into two parts as to what we need to focus, one obviously is the technology-led entrepreneurship, which I guess has picked up a lot in the last few years, thanks to investment, interest in investment, startup, a lot of focus that government of India is giving, the incubators that have been set up in so many colleges. Wherever I go, there are incubators. This is fantastic beginning. Technology and R&D as a profession, I think we need to do more. Not many people who study in colleges aspire to join a technology or an R&D as a profession. They all aspire to become a CXO or a CEO. They know technology and R&D is not the route to that position. And for technology and R&D to pick up as a profession, good people, uh, hardworking people, smart people, intelligent people, need to pursue higher studies, post graduation, PhD. So, how many people take higher studies as an option, as a desired option, and not as something which has been imposed due to several reasons? It's something that I thought, and for both these things to happen, this technology-led entrepreneurship, technology profession, I have three thoughts. And that is what I'm going to present. So, if we want to encourage these two things, we need to focus on three things. Number one, which was mentioned in the earlier presentation very briefly as interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. But in my view, this has to be taken up very strongly. So I was doing some Google Ngram analysis yesterday, and I found that if you look at the three things, one on the top graph that you see is engineering, which increased and now dropped. R&D increased and then dropped. But interdisciplinary is something which is picked up very late, 1960s, maybe after that. But it is growing. And in my view, the whole of this blue line, the contribution of India would be very less. I have not done that analysis. But in my view, the contribution of we in India would be very less. While we are contributing a lot on engineering and a bit in R&D, but multidisciplinary studies, multidisciplinary R&D, we have a lot to. Now, another thought that I thought in this is, at least in my days when I did my engineering, um, we used to have the very first year, which used to be common. We used to learn about physics and chemistry and a bit of an English as a subject and a bit of mechanical, very little of electrical, very little of computer science and so on and so forth. But I have a feeling that engineering is one profession which which people complete and become a professional in 4 years' time. I don't know if this is the right thing to do or not. Uh, but if engineering as an undergraduate degree, I have a feeling that it should be more interdisciplinary. Not 1 year, but maybe 2.5 years could be spent on multidisciplinary. There is a reason why I'm saying this, and that's I'm going to cover in the next slide. If you look at most of the innovations, and increasingly more, not and I'm repeating, increasingly more innovations and more technologies will need knowledge of interdisciplinary, multidisciplines, will need appreciation of. You don't need to be an expert on it, but you need to figure out how to complete the jigsaw. The problem is if we focus too much on one discipline, uh, we might end up in creating new technologies, but we will not be able to apply those technologies. Application of technology happens only because of interdiscipline and multidiscipline. So that's my first thought, that how can we increase interdiscipline, multidiscipline, whatever you call it, uh, in the colleges, and I'm assuming I'm right now I'm referring to engineering colleges. This is true for all colleges. the chart on the bottom left actually goes beyond engineering subject. It goes to even biology and social sciences and things like that, pure sciences and stuff like that. So do we need to, how do we need to address? I leave it to you guys to think about it. I will be very happy to play my role if there is any role that I need to play. But in my mind, if we want to be self-reliant on innovation, technology-led innovation, we need to increase more of interdisciplinary. Let me come to this subject from a different angle altogether. Today, when we hire engineers who have completed 4 years of uh, engineering, the amount of role that a person needs to perform when he or she joins in a company is not doesn't need so much of his or her engineering knowledge. It needs more and more of the interdisciplinary knowledge. Today, when I hire a person, I want the person to know as much about electronics, as much about IoT, as much about artificial intelligence, as much about electrical, a bit about material science, and so on and so forth. Because most of the other engineering knowledge that people bring is getting already embedded into the process, it's already getting available with a click of a mouse on Google. So therefore, even if you want to provide good undergraduate uh, or engineering students to corporates, multidisciplinary graduates would be far more appreciated by companies as compared to being a very less multidisciplinary individual. So that was my first thought, and wanted to corroborate that thought by looking at some of these examples. Uh, Today, you will hardly find something which is very siloed. Anything mechanical, pure mechanical, you will not find. It will almost always be embedded with electronics and computer science. Look at IoT, intelligent cars, manufacturing. It's all mixture of mechanical, electronics, computer science. Look at material science, or what you call it as a metallurgy or something like that. Material science or metallurgy. It's combining with biology. Look at, for example, wood sponge, biomimicry, and so on and so forth. You will find that if you cannot read it. So, so and computer science cuts across all. So it's not only that we should teach computer science only to people who join computer science or computer science related streams, but I think computer science should be taught to all everybody, and that too, as I said, for 2.5 years minimum. Look at environment. When the way people are working on predicting monsoons, flood, so much of work is happening on where to dig to get water, what quality of water is there underground. It's all happening because of computer science is getting embedded into environment science. So just to show that if we want our people, our students to do better research, to do more research, to do more innovation, more technology-led innovation, we need to make them more multidisciplinary in nature. My second thought is on design thinking. I think this was also mentioned in the previous discussion. So I'm very glad that whatever I'm talking has been mentioned by the Dr. Sanchiti in his presentation. But I have a view here, and when I go to College of Engineering in Pune once in a while, uh, we do see that design thinking is being appreciated, is being imbibed by colleges. If you look at traditional engineering, I'm sorry, I'm referring to engineering mostly, because I assume most of the people, the participants are from. Look at the triangle. Most of us, at least till 5, 7, 10 years ago, used to focus on the triangle, develop an idea, do a proto, and do a testing. What maximum we would do in our laboratories in engineering college. We would never shift towards the left, define and empathize. That is what design thinking focuses on. And if you want to develop just the small undergraduate students, if you want them to do a small project which is very technical in nature, which somebody thinks about it by reading a newspaper or by brainwave, they will focus on the triangle. But if you want our students to focus more on not only on technology, but technology-led innovation, there's a difference. I'm just trying to explain that difference between focusing on technology vis-a-vis focusing on technology-led innovation. Then you need to shift focus towards the left. And I propose that we need to include, as soon as possible, full credit course on design thinking. And we need to introduce summer projects or winter projects, whatever you call it. Not only focus on projects after third year, but focus right in the very first year. Why can't we give projects which are design thinking oriented to students who are just passed out, completed first year, or in the second year in the winter vacation, post second year? And there can be plenty of such projects can be given. Even, and I see in my and the way I see future is that students who have to take up a project in fourth year, they might be able to pick up some threads from the design thinking project and continue with the same design thinking project all the way till the third year and the fourth year of project. The point that I'm making is, if you teach them design thinking early with good examples and soak them with good examples, and then give them an opportunity to do not one but two times a project on design thinking, in my mind it will lead them to a better summer internship, might lead them to a better fourth year project, and it might lead them to adopting technology led innovation even more stronger manner. That's, I somehow believe in that hypothesis. I've not tested this hypothesis, I don't have a data point, but I somehow have a feeling about this because I interact a lot with young engineers in the Tata and outside Tatas, and I do interact with a lot of students because I do visit a lot of once in a while. That was the second point. The third point is about technology specialization. So we do a lot of, we celebrate a lot of undergraduates that we have in India. I don't think we actively think so much about people who pursue graduation, pursue PhD, because somehow we have not created that bridge, to be honest. And please, I will be happy to be contradicted by not some of you, but many of you. More of you contradict me, I will be more happy about it. I'm just sharing my perception that we have not, as individuals working in corporates and working in academia, have not created a nice little bridge in people who start dreaming about pursuing PhDs as an option. And to that extent, I just thought, when I go to colleges, I see a lot of hackathons, which was also mentioned by the speaker in the previous presentation. But tell me, how many hackathons are organized for PG students? How many hackathons or makeathons are being designed for PG students which are pursuing their MTechs or whatever you call it and PhDs? No, most of the stuff is happening around undergrad. So, and there are multiple reasons. I don't want to get into all that. There are economic reasons and there are reasons. But we need to take that step, and I am ready to take that step. If some of you are interested, we need to play the. And I also feel that the PG projects that we do, the themes, the topics that we take, we give, and the students take, that has to be an orchestra. As I said, if we think about, if let us assume that if there is a college who is taking some 20 or maybe 30 or maybe 50 or 100, whatever numbers you have, taking those students PhD, do we try to see that we are playing an orchestra among those 20 projects? I'm not saying all 20 can join one orchestra, but at least can we say that at least there are 3 or 4 orchestras being played with 5, 5, 5, and 5, or 20, 25, 30, 20, 10, whatever combinations. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that, as I said, in future, technology-led innovations will be multidisciplinary. And since PhD is goes deep into one area, can we, at a college level, to start with, see if we can create those topics for research, which together create a nice little symphony and an orchestra, which might create interest among PhD students to take up to do startups, which might attract corporates to come and fund some of those projects which were done as an orchestra in the PhD. So I somehow would like to leave this theme of colleges trying to play an orchestra around PhD. And that role can be played, in my mind, by thousands of faculty members who are present today in the course. Without their support and without their blessings and without their conviction, I doubt the PG as an orchestra can we design opportunities? And that's a thought that I have been thinking about it for the last 1 year, and I would be keen to pursue this if there is interest. Can we create either a full credit course or a project? Sorry, I think I'm finishing my time, so I'll move fast now. can we create a opportunity for PG students to take up a course or take up a project involving a faculty as a member and maybe 2, 3 undergraduate students? Is there a way? Can we create a recipe very unique to India, which creates as a bridge between PGU, which gives opportunity for everybody to work on something which is live, and if that can be part of the PG orchestra, that will be better. Let me move forward and let me share with you our attempts, and these are some of the attempts that we have made here, because of which I have shared my thoughts so far, and now I'm talking about the attempts that we have made and how and why I am making those suggestions. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm very keen to pursue whatever I have said so far. Now, what I'm talking about is something which is happening. I don't know how many of you know about TATAinnovers.com, but if you look at the web, if you guys can look at this website called TATAinnovers.com. It's right there, and you can see there are plenty of challenges that we keep posting. There is a value for each challenge has a value here that you can see. I don't want to get into that. So just wanted to leave that thought. I wanted you to take a note of this website because I'm going to talk about this in my presentation going forward. So let me come back to the presentation. Now, what we do is we release around 40 50 problems every year to anybody in the globe who wants to solve them. And so far, we are seeing is that the major traction that we are getting is come from the startups. Around 70 to 80% traction is from startups. There are some 5% of the professors who are converting these problems into projects and actively working with at least half a dozen professors. I don't want to name the colleges here, but at least 6 or 7 professors have taken up some of these projects, either as a consulting project. I don't know what is the methodology they have adopted, but as far as we see that the projects are moving forward. And these are and I don't want to go into these project details, but because I think I'm running out of time now. But look at these people who are trying to solve. We have today 32,000 people who have registered on our TATAinnovers.com, and you see 79% are undergraduates, 3% are PhDs, 8% are so one. You might say no, but we don't have 32,000 postgraduates. I'm sorry, we don't have so many postgraduates, but we are only talking slicing the data of only 32,000. Why? How can we increase more people to come and solve these problems? People do. I've heard many presentations where people say, no, we want grand challenges from the corporate. So I'm saying that we releasing openly, open to public, 40, 50 challenges upfront within cash prize. And if you think there's more money required to work on those projects, we will be happy to listen to you and see if there is an opportunity to work on that. So and how do these 32,000 people, 79% of the undergraduates come? We also do a lot of very focused events for students. We do something called Solver Hunts in Crucible. It's a 9-week event, and everything is what we don't do is we don't go to specific colleges because we feel that is not something that we can be scaled up. We do everything through digital media. For the last 2 years, we are doing it, and the website is always TATAinnovers.com. Always. So we have done. You can see on the left-hand side, we have done Solver Hunt 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We have done crucibles for the corporate and campus both, corporate campus for the last 2 years, and all this happens in a 9-week period. And where you can see that we put a challenge and we get ideas and we evaluate and we announce winners and we distribute cash and so on and so forth. Look at some of the problem statements very quickly. And what we do is we create problem statements which are somehow we feel would be interesting for undergraduate students or maybe postgraduate students, both. We simplify the problem. We don't take real data problems because they might be too complex to solve in 9 weeks time or 3 weeks time, 5 weeks time. So we take comparatively simple problems. So look at the picture. This picture. Look at the bottom second picture. These are the straws through plastic. There used to be plastic straws 1 year ago. Now we don't get them. So these are plastic straws. We said, okay, we'll give you plastic straws. Can you use a camera and count them using artificial intelligence and image processing? Very interesting project. It's quite not very complex project because straws have come somehow easy to do image processing on them. So we thought we'd do them. On the left hand side, since I know that many people are there from south of India today talking about, presenting, or listening to this presentation. we gave a problem statement around seven months back, saying that imagine we have a tawa on which we make dosa, right? And imagine that there are two tawas, one at 100 degrees temperature and the other at 200 degrees temperature. You have only thing you have is a water and mobile phone. That's it. Water and mobile phone. How do you know which tawa is 100 degrees temperature and which tawa is 200 degrees temperature? Again, a very interesting students centric project for a fourth year project, or even for people who want to develop techniques on sound based artificial intelligence and so on and so forth. So there are, I can go on and on all this. So there are many such projects. There was a Google map that we created on the middle left. We said we want students to create Google map of potholes in a city, Coimbatore or Chennai or Pune or Jamshedpur, wherever. Can we create Google map of potholes so that the citizens can find it useful, and people who are supposed to repair it can find it useful. People who are supposed to award contracts can be used it. People who are supposed to penalize the people who are given contracts can be. So all basically for governance purposes and for users purposes. So these are some of the thoughts that I wanted to leave. Now I've finished my time now. I would like to close. I think I have to hurry up, rush up in between, but we'll be very happy to take up if you any questions that you might have any later on or well now. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. Thank you to ICT Academy for giving us the
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I think you took us into a different journal. No, I think the website of. No, I thought you should see there, visit there. No, I could see a lot of articles there, and if there is any questions, because some questions may be very specific, no deeper into the topic. So you can always write to him, and he'll always help us. So thank you so much for your inspiring session, sir. Thanks a lot.